Good morning, everyone. How you all doing? Welcome to another episode of Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Marenfeld. I'm Brandon Marenfeld. Thank you for joining me. This is episode 96 of Hockey on the Spot. Only 2 updates to go over today. However, 9 games last night, so it's going to be mostly about the games plus this day in hockey history. So let's get to it. The first of the 2 updates, an update on Nashville Predators goaltender Pekka Rinne. He will be out 6 to 8 weeks with an E. coli infection in his hip. This is a big loss for the Nashville Predators. He is without a doubt their starting goaltender, and although Carter Hutton has been pretty solid since he's been out, you still gotta miss his. You still gonna miss his goaltending. You really are. You're really gonna miss his goaltending. And the other update is a rumor revolving around the Columbus Blue Jackets. It is reporting that there have been no contract talks between them and Marian Gaborik, and it's also believed that such contract talks will not start as Gaborik will be moved come the trade deadline on March 5th. I personally don't understand why, to be honest with you. Definitely a big shocker. It would be interesting to see him go to somewhere that needs an offensive player. The Jackets, though, that they'd be left absolutely high and dry, though, if they did that. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be a really interesting scenario for Gaborik for sure. And obviously there will be teams that will be interested in his kind of offense. So we'll see how that all turns out. And those are your updates for today, guys. Not too many, see? Now, let's get to the games here, starting with one of the games of the night, the Dallas Stars and the Boston Bruins in Boston. Couple former players from residing teams going up against each other for the first time tonight since the big trade, the blockbuster deal this offseason. For the Dallas Stars, Tyler Seguin and Rich Peverley both go up against their former team, the Boston Bruins. While for the Boston Bruins, youngster Riley Smith and Louis Eriksson, who returned just in time to play his former team from his concussion from that hit on Buffalo Sabres forward John Scott. John Scott, I should say. He returns to the lineup just in time to face his former team. And it was a pretty interesting game, although it would be the Dallas Stars, Tyler Seguin, and Rich Peverley coming up on the Boston Bruins by a final score of 3-2 in a shootout. For the Dallas Stars, their goals being scored by Jamie Benn, his 5th of the year, assisted by Valeri Nichushkin, and his older brother, Jordy Benn, his 3rd assist of the year. And then after the Bruins took a 2-1 lead, Vernon Fiddler would score his 2nd goal of the year unassisted on a penalty shot. He would have a penalty shot in the game, and he would score on it 7:26 into the 3rd period. For the Boston Bruins, their goals would be scored by Torrey Krug, his 5th of the year, assisted by Riley Smith, the former Dallas Star. He's becoming a nice player for the Bruins, and Carl Soderberg. And then for their 2nd goal, Milan Lucic would score his 7th of the year, assisted by Dougie Hamilton and David Krejci. In the shootout, the Stars would use Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, Alex Chasen, and Rich Peverley, while the Bruins would use Patrice Bergeron, Jerome McGinley, Louis Eriksson, and David Krejci. For the Dallas Stars, Tyler Seguin and Rich Peverley would both score in the shootout. Peverley's goal would be the shootout winner. For the Dallas Stars, for the Boston Bruins, Patrice Bergeron would get up on the board in the shootout. So, very interesting there. So, the 2 former Bruins both being the scorers in the shootout. Louis Eriksson went up in the shootout against his former team, but would miss, obviously. For the Dallas Stars, no standout as far as shots on goal. Brendan Dillon, Vern Fiddler, and Valeri Nichushkin each had 4, which I guess stands out a little bit. Ray Whitney and Vernon Fiddler both had 4 minutes in penalties. Trevor Daley and Alex Goligoski each with 4 blocked shots. And the goaltender, Kari Lehtinen, his play in net was spectacular. 34 saves on 36 shots, a .944 save percentage. Congratulations to him. For the Boston Bruins, Patrice Bergeron. He was a major standout in shots, 7. The next closest was Carl Soderberg, who had 4. Riley Smith, 4 penalty minutes in the game against his former mates. Milan Lucic, 4 hits in the game, and that's something he does best. Tuukka Rask also was very spectacular in the game. The same goaltending statistics. 34 saves on 36 shots, a .944 save percentage. So a game exactly even in every single way except for the shootout. So Bruins get a point, but the Stars come up big in this one by a final score of 3-2. Next, we have the New York Islanders and the Washington Capitals. The Capitals coming up with a huge, not only win, but blowout over the Islanders by a final score of 6-2. A real disgraceful game for the New York Islanders to play. Forward John Tavares had this to say about the game. He was very frustrated at the end of the 6-2 loss, and he simply said, "It should be embarrassing. Just don't know why we can't stick with it. You give Ovechkin and Backstrom those easy plays, it'll be a long night." That's right, folks. Alex Ovechkin makes his return last night against the Washington Capitals, and he plays unbelievably well with 2 goals and an assist. So let's talk about it. The Islanders did take a 1-0 lead, but after that it was pretty much all caps, starting with an unassisted goal by defenseman John Carlson, his 2nd of the year. Following that up was Alex Ovechkin with his 11th of the year on the power play, assisted by Nicklas Backstrom. Then the Islanders would tie the game at 2, but then it was all Capitals after that, and we had a few firsts. Then on the power play, Marcus Johansson gets his first goal of the season. All of his points have been coming from assists this year, assisted by Troy Brouwer, his first assist of the year, and Nicklas Backstrom. Then Alexander Urbom, the waiver claim off the New Jersey Devils, would get his first goal as a Washington Capital, and his first goal in a very long time, as a matter of fact. First point of the year. Here, big shot from the point by Alexander Urbom, assisted by Tom Wilson, his first NHL assist and NHL point, and Steve Alexi. Congratulations to Tom Wilson. Then Alex Ovechkin would get his 2nd of the game on the power play, assisted by Marcus Johansson and Nicklas Backstrom. And then on the power play in the 3rd period, Tom Wilson would score his first NHL goal at long last, assisted by Alex Ovechkin and Mikhail Grabovski. Unbelievable game for those guys. Alex Ovechkin, Alexander Urbom, Tom Wilson, and John Carlson all would have 4 shots on goal to lead the team, and every single player on the Washington Capitals would have at least 1 shot on goal in the game. Pretty unbelievable, and lots of multi-point performers in this game. Ovechkin, 2 goals and an assist, that's 3 points. Nicklas Backstrom, 3 assists, that's 3 points. Tom Wilson, a goal and an assist, that's 2 points. Marcus Johansson, a goal and an assist, that's 2 points. Nobody really stood out as far as hits go, but block shots, Carl Alsner, 4. And how about the play of Braden Holtby in goal? 34 saves on 36 shots, a .944 save percentage, the same exact statistics as Tuukka Rask and Kari Lehtonen from the Dallas-Boston game. Eric Fehr did not play in the game. He was a healthy scratch, I believe. So there you have it there. And how about the penalty minutes? So many penalty minutes in the games. Leading the Capitals in penalty minutes, Troy Brouwer and Tom Wilson. Both would have 12 minutes in penalties in the game. There were quite a few bit of rough stuff going on at 18:24 and 19:53 in the 3rd period. So those two getting involved more than anybody. For the New York Islanders, their only 2 goals of the game coming from John Tavares, his 7th of the year, assisted by Franz Nielsen and Kyle Okposo. And then Kyle Okposo would tie the game at 2, getting his 5th of the year, assisted by John Tavares. and Andrew McDonald. Gotta give Kyle Oposo a lot of credit, though, despite the loss. He is off to a great start with 5 goals and 14 assists for 19 points in 15 games played. Kyle Oposo playing unbelievably well, but tonight, not a good night for the Islanders in general. Kyle Oposo and John Tavares each with a goal and an assist. That's 2 points. And how about the penalty minutes? Peter Regan, 10 minutes in penalties. Matt Martin, 10 minutes in penalties. And Matt Carkner, the defenseman, he led the game in penalty minutes with 14. So, lots of penalties there. As far as shots on goal are concerned, Thomas Vanek would lead the team and the game with 7 shots on goal. That's Alex Ovechkin's statistics right there. Travis Hamonic and John Tavares would each have 4 shots on goal in the game. As far as hits are concerned, Matt Carkner and Matt Martin each with 4. So those were the big hitters for the Islanders. Evgeny Nabokov, not a good night for him by any stretch whatsoever. 33 saves on 39 shots and .846 save percentage. He will look to erase that one, as will John Tavares and the rest of the Islanders. Congrats to the Washington Capitals on a huge win. Next, we have the Ottawa Senators and the Columbus Blue Jackets in Columbus. The Sens coming up huge in this one, but winning by a final score of 4-1 in Columbus. Ottawa goals being scored by Erik Karlsson, his 5th of the year, unassisted. Then Clark MacArthur would get his 2nd of the season, assisted by Bobby Ryan and Kyle Turris. Then Chris Neil would get his 2nd of the year, assisted by Jason Spezza and Eric Gryba. For Eric Gryba, that's his 1st assist of the season. And for Jason Spezza, congratulations to him. Not only was that his 7th assist of the season, but his 400th career NHL assists. What a milestone for him. And then Erik Karlsson would get his 2nd of the game via an empty net goal, assisted by Jason Spezza and Milan Michalek. So Jason Spezza, 401 assists go after last night. Jason Spezza, 2 assists in the game. Erik Karlsson, 2 goals. Congratulations to them. How about Chris Neil, though, leading the game and the Sens with 12 minutes in penalties. A very rough night, another really rough night. Matt Cassian, 7 minutes in penalties. And how about Erik Karlsson? 7 shots on goal. What statistics there as far as shots on goal are concerned. He had an unbelievable performance, a +3 as well. That's really fantastic. Hits, Zach Smith and Eric Gryba led the team with 4 hits, and Chris Phillips led the team with 4 blocked shots. And Robin Lehner, at long last, getting a well-deserved first win of the season, making 32 saves on 33 shots and .970 save percentage. Congratulations to him. For the Columbus Blue Jackets, their only goal of the game coming on the power play from R.J. Umberger, his 2nd of the year, assisted by Fedor Tutin and Brandon Dubinsky. So not a good night at all for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Jared Bull leading the team with 10 minutes in penalties. James Wisniewski leading the team with 5 shots on goal. Ryan Johansson and Ryan Murray both had 4. And Ryan Murray leading the team with 4 blocked shots. Curtis McElhaney got the start in net and was not good at all. 20 saves on 23 shots and .870 save percentage. So not a good night for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Congrats to the Ottawa Senators. Next, we have the St. Louis Blues and the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal. The Blues coming up big with a 3-2 victory in a shootout. Yaroslav Halak up against his former team. St. Louis Blues being scored by Alexander Steen, his 13th of the season. He continues to have a remarkable season. He leads the league in goals. His 13th of the year, assisted by David Backes. And then after Montreal took a 2-1 lead, Chris Stewart would get his 2nd of the year, assisted by Kevin Shattenkirk and Vladimir Sobotka. For the Montreal Canadiens, their goals coming from Rennie Bourque, assisted by Andrei Markov, and PK Subban for Bourque, his 5th of the year. and the second goal being scored by Michael Bourneval, his fourth of the year. He continues to be good, assisted by Brian Giunta. In the shootout, TJ Oshie, the only goal scorer in the shootout. He was the first shooter for the Blues. Alexander Steen, the other shooter for the Habs. They would go with Alex Galchenyuk, Brendan Gallagher, and Max Pacioretty. They would all miss. So, good win for the St. Louis Blues. Ryan Reeves standing out with 7 penalty minutes to lead the game in that regard. Alex Pietrangelo led the Blues with 5 shots on goal, as did Alexander Steen. Kevin Shattenkirk and Chris Stewart each with 4. And how about the hits for the St. Louis Blues? David Backes with 9. That led the game in hits. Ryan Reeves with 6. That's unbelievable right there. And then Roman Polak leading the team with 4 block shots. Yaroslav Halak, he was unbelievable in goal. 25 saves on 27 shots and 926 save percentage. He was really good. For the Montreal Canadiens, George Parros led the game with 5 minutes in penalties. Led the team in 5 minutes in penalties. Tomas Plekanec leading the Habs and the game with 6 shots on goal. Brendan Gallagher had 4. No one really stood out in hits. However, blocked shots. The Montreal Canadiens, despite the loss, set an NHL record last night. With a team combined 37 blocked shots. That's unbelievable. But no one more than Douglas Murray, who had 8 blocked shots in the game. Rafael Diaz, he had 5, and Lars Eller had 4. So an unbelievable performance by the Habs despite the loss. And Carey Price was really good as well. 30 saves and 32 shots and 938 save percentage. He did also take a penalty in the game, but he had an unbelievable game overall. Congrats to the St. Louis Blues, however. Next, we have the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers in Florida. Both teams riding a 5-game losing streak, looking to end that. It is the Oilers who come out on top 4-3 in overtime. And the Oilers getting contributions from guys all scoring their first goals of the season. After the Panthers took a 1-0 lead, defenseman Philip Larson would score his first goal as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. He was acquired from the Dallas Stars in the Sean Horcoff trade, assisted by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Boyd Gordon. Then Mark Arcobello would score his first NHL goal. All his points have been coming from assists this season, assisted by Boyd Gordon and Ryan Jones, his first assist of the year. Then defenseman Taylor Fedun would get his first NHL goal, assisted by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Jordan Eberle. And then the Panthers, after they came back to tie it, in overtime, Mark Arcobello would score his second NHL goal and second of the game on the power play, assisted by Ales Hemsky and Boyd Gordon. So congratulations to him, for Mark Arcobello, on a great performance, 2 goals. And how about Boyd Gordon, a fourth-line center, getting 3 assists in the game? That's really unbelievable right there. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins also getting 2 assists in the game. Mark Arcobello also led the team with 4 shots on goal and hits. Lots of hitting by the Edmonton Oilers. None more than Andrew Ference, who led the team with 7 hits. Ladislav Schmid was second with 6. And then Luke Gazdic had 4. So, good job there. And then Philip Larson, 4 block shots in the game. Devin Dubnyk got the start and goal and finally got the win, but not a great performance even still. 20 saves on 23 shots and 870 save percentage. So despite the win, I wouldn't call it a spectacular performance. For the Florida Panthers, their goals coming from Marcel Goc, assisted by Jonathan Huberdeau and Thomas Fleischmann. And then after that, when they were down 3-1, Scotty Upshall would score his first 2 goals of the season. The first one assisted by Jesse Winchester and Brian Campbell. The second assisted by Marcel Goc and Dmitry Kulikov. So a big game for Scotty Upshall, who is on the trade block, as are all Florida Panther veterans. So Upshall 2 goals in the game, and Marcel Goc a goal and an assist. So good job there for those guys. As far as shots on goal are concerned, Chris Versteeg led the team with 4. Hits, Panthers also lots of hitting in the game. Eric Goodbranson led the team and tied for the game lead with 7 shot hits. Scotty Upshaw and Dmitry Kulikov each with 5. Jesse Winchester, Sean Mathias, and Mike Weaver each with 4. Jake Markstrom got the starting goal, and not a good night for him either. 23 saves and 27 shots and .852 save percentage. Just not a good night all around for the goaltending, but a good night for the young kids, for the Oilers, especially their defense. Their defense was really aggressive last night. Congrats to the Edmonton Oilers on a huge win. Next, we have the Philadelphia Flyers and the Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes riding a losing streak of their own. I believe that was riding about 5 or 6 games. It finally comes to an end. There was a 5-game losing streak. The Hurricanes coming up with a big victory over the Flyers, 2-1 in overtime. The Flyers did take a 1-0 lead in the game, but the game would be tied under a minute to play in the third period. Jordan Staal getting his second of the year, assisted by Eric Staal and Yuri Talusti. And then in overtime, Manny Malhotra, the guy who had not played in a very, very long time, the guy who many people thought his career would be over, would get his first goal of the season, his first as a Carolina Hurricane, assisted by Ron Hainsey. For Ron Hainsey, that would be his first goal, first assist in a Carolina Hurricanes sweater. And for Manny Malhotra, his first goal since March 26th, 2012, which would be a game-winning goal at home against the Los Angeles Kings when he was still a member of the Vancouver Canucks. So, congratulations to Manny Malhotra on a huge game. Alexander Semin would lead the team with 6 shots on goal. Nathan Gerbe would have 5. As far as hits are concerned, how about Tuomo Ruutu? 8 hits in the game. And Brett Bellamore would have 6 block shots. Manny Malhotra and Jay Harrison would each have 4, so a big game for Malhotra. Justin Peters gets his first win of the season. 28, and he was really good. 28 saves on 29 shots, a .966 save percentage. Those are tremendous statistics right there. For the Philadelphia Flyers, their only goal coming in the game coming on the power play. Scott Hartnell getting his first of the year at long last, assisted by Kimmo Timonen, his first assist of the year, and Claude Giroux, who has 7 assists on the season now, but no goals. It's been a really disappointing season for Claude Giroux indeed. Matt Reed and Kimmo Timonen each with 4 shots on goal to lead the team. Nicholas Grossman, 8 hits to lead the Flyers and tie for the game lead. Zach Rinaldo would have 5. Nicholas Grossman, 6 block shots in the game. That's unbelievable. That led every player on both teams in that regard. Steve Mason was really good despite the loss. 36 saves on 38 shots and .947 save percentage. But congrats to the Carolina Hurricanes on a big performance at home. Next, we have the Calgary Flames and the Minnesota Wild. The Wild coming up with a huge win by a final score of 5-1. The Flames took a 1-0 lead in the game, but after that, it was all Minnesota. Minnesota goals being scored by Mikko Koivu, his second of the year, assisted by Zach Parise and Charlie Coyle. For Charlie Coyle, his first assist of the season. But for Charlie Coyle, it's also first game since November 1st and second game back since the injury. It's good to see him back. Then after that, Zach Parise would score the first of 2 goals in the game on the power play, assisted by Ryan Suter and Mikko Koivu. Then Justin Fontaine would get his 5th of the year, assisted by Matt Cook and Kyle Brodziak. Then Zenon Konopka would get his first goal in a Minnesota Wild uniform. Congratulations to him, assisted by Torrey Mitchell and Marco Scandella. And then Zach Parise would get his 2nd of the game and 8th of the year, assisted by Mikko Koivu and Ryan Suter. So big games for those guys. Mikko Koivu with a goal and 2 assists. Zach Parise with 2 goals and 1 assist. 3-point night for both of those guys. Ryan Suter, 2 assists in the game, 2 points for him. Clayton Stoner would lead the team with 5 penalty minutes. Jason Pominville had 4. Shots on goal, Zach Parise led the team with 5. And those are the only standouts for the Wild. Josh Harding got the starting goal and was good. 24 saves on 25 shots, a .960 save percentage. Great performance by him. For the Calgary Flames, their only goal of the game, the 1-0 goal, being scored by Yuri Hudler, his 6th of the year, assisted by Lance Balma, his first assist of the season, and Chad Billins. Congrats to Chad Billins on his first NHL assist and first NHL point. And Tim Jackman getting a little too aggressive in the game. 17 penalty minutes in the game to lead the team and the game. So we'll see what happens to him, as if he gets some kind of a suspension or something. And Chris Butler leading the team with 5 blocked shots. Rito Berra got the starting goal for the Calgary Flames, and unlike that game against the Chicago Blackhawks, not a good night for him by any means. Just 19 saves on 24 shots, a .792 save percentage. So congratulations to the Minnesota Wild on a huge home ice win. Next, we have the Vancouver Canucks and the Phoenix Coyotes. The Yotes coming up huge with a 3-2 victory in a shootout. For the Phoenix Coyotes, their goals being scored by Radim Verbata, his 6th of the year, assisted by Martin Hanzal. And then after Vancouver took a 2-1 lead, Shane Doan with his 5th of the year, the captain, tying it up, assisted by Keith Yandel and David Moss. And for the Vancouver Canucks, their goals coming from Dan Hamhuis, 3rd of the year, assisted by Mike Santorelli. He's had a nice season for the Vancouver Canucks. And then Ryan Kessler would score his 9th of the year on the power play, assisted by Henrik Sedin and Daniel Sedin. In the shootout, the Yotes would go with Michael Bodker, Radim Verbata, Mike Ribeiro, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Shane Doan, and Antoine Vermette. Radim Verbata and Antoine Vermette would score. Vermette would be the shootout winner. For the Canucks, their shooters would be Mike Santorelli, Alexander Burrows, Chris Higgins, Daniel Sedin, Ryan Kessler, and Henrik Sedin. Alexander Burrows, the only shootout goal for the Canucks. So, big win for the Yotes. Shane Doan leading the team as well as the game with 8 shots on goal. The next closest was Martin Hanzal with 4. Lots of hits in the game. Rob Klinkhammer leading the team with 8. A lot of guys with 4. David Moss, Shane Doan, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Lori Korpikoski, Jordan Schwartz, and Michael Bodker. And then block shots, Zbigniew McCulloch and Michael Stone, each with 4. Mike Smith, another brilliant performance. 31 saves on 33 shots, a .939 save percentage. Congrats to him. For the Vancouver Canucks, Jason Garrison leading the team with 5 shots on goal. Chris Higgins and Daniel Sedin each with 4. Hits, Chris Tanev and Chris Higgins each with 4. And block shots, Alexander Edler had 4. Roberto Luongo getting the start, and a great game for him despite the loss. 30 saves on 32 shots, a .938 save percentage. Congratulations to the Phoenix Coyotes on a huge win. And last but not least, we get to the big upset of last night. The Buffalo Sabres and the San Jose Sharks in San Jose. The Sharks, the 3rd best team in the NHL, however, the best offensive team in the NHL going into last night. The Buffalo Sabres, the worst team in the NHL, as well as the worst offensive team in the NHL. The Buffalo Sabres upset the San Jose Sharks by a final score of 5-4 in a shootout. Unbelievable. That's really unbelievable how a team like the Sharks could lose to a team like the Buffalo Sabres, especially at home. The Sharks took a 1-0 lead in the game, but after that, they basically had to struggle to get that for 1 point. Buffalo goals being scored by Drew Stafford, 2nd of the year, assisted by Jamie McBain and Zemgus Girgensons. Then Cody McCormick would get his 1st of the year, assisted and first in a while, assisted by Drew Stafford and Zemgus Girgensons. Then Tyler Ennis would get his second of the year on the power play, assisted by Cody Hodgson and Matt Moulson. And then Henrik Tallinder, the former New Jersey Devil, would get his second of the year, assisted by Tyler Ennis and Matt Moulson. So the Buffalo Sabres had a 3-1 and 4-3 lead in the game. The Sharks had to push twice to come back. San Jose goals being scored by Marty Havlat, his first since returning from an injury, assisted by Brad Stewart and Dan Boyle. That's also his first of the year. Then to start pushing back, Tyler Kennedy, with the former Pittsburgh Penguin, would get his second of the year, assisted by Mark-Edward Vlasic and Joe Pavelski. Then Thomas Hertl, the young outstanding rookie, would get his ninth of the year, assisted by Scott Hannon, his first assist of the year, and Joe Thornton. And then Tommy Wingels would tie the game at 4 just after an expiring power play, his fourth of the year, assisted by Marty Havlat, first assist of the year for him, and Thomas Hertl. In the shootout, the Sabres went with Matt Moulson, Tyler Ennis, Drew Stafford, and Cody Hodgson. Matt Moulson and Cody Hodgson scoring for the Sabres in the shootout. Hodgson getting the shootout winner for the San Jose Sharks. Their shootout goals being scored by Logan Couture, Joe Pavelski, Patrick Marleau, and Thomas Hertl. Logan Couture scoring the only goal for the Sharks in the shootout. But Hodgson getting the shootout winner. Congratulations there to the Sabres. As far as penalty minutes are concerned, Johan Larsson led the Sabres with 7. Cody McCormick would have 5. Drew Stafford a goal and an assist. Matt Moulson 2 assists. Zemgus Girgensons 2 assists. And Tyler Ennis a goal and an assist. Congratulations to those guys. Cody Hodgson leading, and Marcus Foligno leading the team with 5 shots on goal. Drew Stafford with 4 hits. Rasmus Ristolainen led the team with 5. And then Jamie McBain and Henrik Tallinder leading the team with 4 blocked shots. Ryan Miller, spectacular performance for him, despite letting up 4 goals. 47 saves on 51 shots, a .922 save percentage. That's what the Sharks do. They shoot. Martin Havlat and Thomas Hertl each with a goal and an assist in the game. 7 penalty minutes for Mike Brown and Tyler Kennedy to lead the team in that regard. Tyler Kennedy leading the game with 8 shots on goal. Thomas Hertl with 6. Dan Boyle and Patrick Marleau each with 5. 7 hits in the game for Brad Stewart. Really physical night for him. Mike Brown had 4. And so a big standout game for the Sharks. Antti Niemi, not one of his better performances. 32 saves on 36 shots and .889 save percentage. What an upset by the Buffalo Sabres, who start off their California road trip on a high note. Congratulations to the Buffalo Sabres on a huge win. Last but not least, folks, we go to this day in hockey history from November 6th. In 1948, Montreal Canadiens goaltender Bill Durnan recorded his 19th career shutout as the Montreal Canadiens would win by a final score of 2-0 over the Detroit Red Wings at home. Bill Durnan spent only 7 seasons in the NHL, and still he recorded 34 shutouts in the regular season and 2 shutouts in the playoffs. He became a Stanley Cup champion in 1944 and 1946. He won the Vezina Trophy in all years from 1944 to 1950, and with only one exception, in 1948. This means that in his 7 seasons in the NHL, he was 6 times pronounced as the best goalie. In the year 1964, Bill Durnan would be introduced into the NHL's Hockey Hall of Fame. A great achievement for a great goaltender. And that is your hockey moment for today, your historic hockey moment for today. And that'll do it for episode 96 of Hockey on the Spot. Thank you all for joining me. This has been Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Barenfeld. I'm Brandon Barenfeld. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you and have a great day.